Hello, everyone. Hello. I'm the Black Shadow. Hope you're all doing reasonably well. I'm not, to be fair. I'm actually pretty unwell today, it must be said. However, there's been some very big news occurred literally about an hour ago, and figured might want to get this up onto the channel. And that, of course, is referring to the announcement of Resident Evil 3 Remake over at Sony's State of Play live stream they were doing not too long ago. And suffice to say, the channel's pretty busy and working out what exactly is going on and what we've learnt. Mark April 3rd in your calendars, everyone, for that is what has been announced. Not even 6 months away, which is a bit of a surprise. I didn't think it'd be coming quite this soon. And then there's even more surprising news on top of that as well, for that matter, which we'll get to in a second. But however, yeah, on April 3rd, we'll be turning the clock back to September 28th. Daylight. I will put a link in the video description below for this whole, so you can view this whole announcement trailer. I won't be showing off all of this to you guys, because I don't really need to. I'll let you guys suffice to get into it all. But yeah, I was very surprised by this, definitely. But I'm not disappointed by any stretch of imagination. Just means I know what I'm going to be doing in 6 months' time. The game is due to be released on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, as well as Steam as well. So that's good. Means I can actually record the fucking thing. And of course, we'll be featuring plenty of goodies, I'm sure, as we embark upon the campaign and surviving the streets of Raccoon City once more.
Jill, over here.
Hi, Jill. To be fair, the initial look at this, I'm thoroughly looking forward to this game by a mile.
Honesty, integrity,
and I figured to show you this bit as well, guys, because why the hell not? That's the one. April 3rd. So, yeah, my thoughts on the game being due to be released in less than 6 months is I'm a little surprised. Obviously, you know, it's by that point it would have been a little bit over a year since Resident Evil 2 Remake was released, and obviously we know that game went incredibly well, ultimately receiving several awards and nominations, bits and pieces, being voted the best game of 2019 by several outlets, which is pretty impressive considering the tendency for recency bias in the modern day. But regardless, though, I'm pretty happy with things as it looks. I want to show this bit as well because I can't help but look at this bit here with Nemesis and feel this is awfully very reminds me a lot of the movie. Obviously, the second Resident Evil movie, which was released. Goodness me, what was that about? Like maybe about 10 years ago now. It feels like it's been quite a while since that was released. But yeah, the whole, you know, operating on him and that sort of malarkey. I don't think much of the canon with like Alice and whatever else is actually going to embark into the game. But that still is a nice little touch to see. On top of that as well, of course, with the remake, is a set of new character designs. And we'll flick through some of these, sure, because why the hell not? I'll get to Jill in a moment, actually. I want to talk about others, of course. We've got remasters of various characters. The great Mikhail, the legend that is. It'll be great to see him in action again. And, of course, it'll be heartbreaking to see him, unfortunately, perish as well. We've got several members of the UBCS team as well will be dotted around. We've got Brad here, of course, one of the last remaining RPD members, along with Jill in the city streets. There's Mikhail there, who of course is going to be a bit pesky. Nice little detail here, actually. You've got this dude here, who you might remember from Resident Evil 3. This was the gentleman that was in the Raccoon Hospital, who was trying to sabotage the place because he realized that Mikhail was basically working behind everyone's backs and trying to get everyone killed, which was a problem. Speaking of problems, however, I have one reservation currently on the character designs, and that revolves around Carlos here. Maybe it's just me, but I'm not a fan. Like, he reminds me more of Kevin Ryman at the moment than Carlos Olivier. Now, it should be stated, there are I'll get to that in a second. Some pre-order bonuses for the game here, which are obviously subject to platforms and your regions and whatever else. The only one being touted is the Resident Evil 3 Classic Costume Pack, which obviously has them in the much more, the older titles from the original game. And to be fair, I think I probably prefer Carlos on this at the moment. But, I did say the same for Claire for Resident Evil 2 Remake. She reminded me a bit more of like Zoe from Left 4 Dead, which wasn't necessarily a bad thing, but I came to get over that, and I imagine I probably will with Carlos as well. We'll have to rely on his wit and charm to get us over the line there. Now, as for Jill herself, this actually brings a very good opportunity for a segue here into the collector's edition for Resident Evil Remake that's been released. And here it is, folks. So, for a cool $180 US, I'm pretty sure this is only in North America, by the way, guys, at the moment. There might be more versions released in different regions at the moment, but this is just North America only. For 180 bucks, you've got yourself your copy of the game, you've got your soundtrack, your art book, a double-sided map of Raccoon City, which is actually kind of cool, I reckon. And you've got a 11-inch Jill Valentine figure, who I have to admit, I think I actually quite like the design of Jill in the remake like that. It was one thing I remember I've always pointed out to people is that the original version of Jill in the original game always seemed a bit weird. This feels much more like, someone caught in the midst of a zombie apocalypse around them and having to react and survive the situation. Whereas this feels like, shit was going down, so you went back to the hotel and got changed for 20 minutes, in front of the mirror before going out and kicking ass. But I suppose both have their places. But honestly speaking, yeah, I really, really like the design of Jill in this. I think it's really good. It just feels a bit more, a touch more everyday, which I don't think is a bad thing any stretch of imagination. I know that these are larger-than-life people in the end, with Claire and Chris and Jill and whatever else. But they're still, residents of a city caught up in amongst of a catastrophe around them. And it just makes them feel perhaps a touch more relatable in a way, if you feel what I mean. So, quite the fan, thoroughly looking forward to it, and to be honest, I generally am nowhere even remotely interested in getting these sort of things, but this actually is not too bad, I don't think, a collector's edition, so, it's not the worst thing. All they're getting carried and sent to you in this lovely little stars item box here, which is cute, to put it mildly, but yeah, I think actually not too bad at all. Now, on to the second huge bit of news for Resident Evil 3 Remake, which no one expected, and is being suggested and being mentioned here, is that along with Resident Evil 3 Remake, with the same copy of the game, is being sent along with the original Project Resistance, or Resident Evil Resistance it is now. Now, this is quite the surprise. I don't think anyone was really expecting this at all, of course. Project Resistance had a closed beta about 6 to 8 weeks ago, I believe it was now. And we had ourselves a bark on that. I did some streams on it. I did a review of my thoughts on it, and of course was summarizing it with, would I buy this game standalone? And I was thinking, I'm not sure. And the response that the Resistance beta got was not the greatest by any stretch of the imagination. It did see some resistance, if you'll pardon the pun. I know, shoot me now. So I'm curious and fascinated that Capcom decided that maybe they've seen that and they've thought, look, maybe this isn't really going to be good enough as a standalone title. So why not throw it in with Resident Evil 3 Remake, as we already know we've got that in the back burner and working on that as well. It's an admirable decision, and I'm totally up for that, because I suspect what you'll find is the amount that Resident Evil 3 Remake was going to cost is not really going to change. There is obviously, along with this, going to be some potential worries. You would normally think for is this going to divert resources from Resident Evil 3 Remake, which, given the fact that Resident Evil 2 Remake was a really fucking good game, has received several nominations and awards for being the best game of the year and all that sort of stuff, which is pretty good considering it was released in January, and the tendency for recency bias nowadays is very hard to avoid. There is high expectations for Resident Evil 3 Remake, but of course, Project Resistance is being developed mainly out of house, and so that the Capcom team should be able to focus exclusively on Resident Evil 3 Remake, which is arguably going to be more important. But regardless, it will be nice for, people that have the choice. If they want to have a little dabble in it, that's great. If not, then, so be it. But I think, all in all, this is probably a pretty wise decision. I think really trying to release Resistance on its own standalone, I think it was probably going to struggle a hell of a lot. So this is probably a smarter decision in the long run. So, anyways, do let me know of your thoughts in the comment section below, or what you think of the news. I'm going to keep this pretty short because, again, I'm not particularly well by any stretch of imagination. If you fancy getting involved in some more of the conversation, I would certainly recommend paying a visit over to the Discord server in the link below for the channel, where it is being chatted and commented about very heavily, I'm sure you can imagine, with all sorts of malarkey and plenty of fantasy stuff and things what they may or may not do, and some Halo chat, because that's, of course, relevant to Resident Evil. Never mind. So, yeah, take care of yourselves. Hope you have yourselves a very good week. And I'm very sure that we will hear more news for Resident Evil 3 in the near future. I'm sure we'll see plenty more of Nemesis as well, and much more details on the game as we go. But other than that, that's the news, everyone. Holy fucking shit. Take care of yourselves, everyone. I'll see you soon.